before I get into this review of this movie, I just want you to admire my smooth criminal outfit. Also, how bad I am at tying ties. But you know what? The outfit covers it up well enough. Anyways, I'm gonna take off this hat because I don't actually like wearing the hat. By the way, it gave me like really bad hat hair, but I don't have the hair anymore to wear hats. I used to wear hats when I was you know, more insecure about my hair. Didn't really have long hair like I do now, so now I don't really pull off hats very well. But I had to do it for this movie because I bought this outfit several. I think it must have been 2 or 3 years ago now when this movie was supposed to come out. I have been so excited for this movie because I am a big Michael Jackson fan. And I actually did read this book. But by the way, the Dollar Tree. Before You Judge Me, The Triumph and Tragedy of Michael Jackson's Last Days, which is a great book. I highly recommend that. There's also other books I read about Michael Jackson. There's documentaries I watched about Michael Jackson. I love Michael Jackson. I've heard all of his albums. Love the Jackson 5. It's just, there's so much there. And really, Michael Jackson had such an interesting life that I kind of felt like, what was the purpose of making a movie about him? Where you could make a whole fucking mini series about this dude's life. And it'd be really engaging. And I still believe that because the way you see critics trashing this movie is because so much of it feels like Cliff Notes of a deeper story. And that's true to some extent, but I think the way that they kind of contain all this movie is because of the behind the scenes backstory, which I'll go over very briefly. I don't feel like I need to go into it too much. Basically, Michael Jackson, of course, had his accusations back in the 90s, court cases, shit like that. They were going to include that in the last act of the movie. They had to do reshoots to fix that because when the supposed victims, we'll never really know the true story of all that shit. But anyways, they, they were not supposed to be mentioned legally. So the estate fucked up on that. They had to go around and they're like, maybe we'll split into two movies, maybe we don't. It seems like the reality is we are getting two Michael Jackson movies, especially like the way this movie ends. So this is just the first half of Michael's life. The second part of his life will be in the other movie. We'll see how that turns out. So if you are someone who is really interested, or are they going to address the allegations, I will tell you straight the fuck up. They do not. They do not address the allegations in this movie because this movie stops at like right at the 1988, I think was the year that they said last year they mentioned on screen. So that's the moment the movie stops. And I think obviously the next movie probably go through his court cases in later life and then follow his death and a lot of that. So we'll see how that movie turns out when that comes out. As for this one, I will say, if you are someone who really likes Michael Jackson and his music, just go fucking watch this movie. You're going to have a good time. The theater I was with had a great time. I was not actually the only one in the theater dressed up for this movie. There were people dressed in the Bat outfit and the Thriller outfit and Michael Jackson's shirts and jacket. People love Michael Jackson. They really fucking do. And I think there was this notion by some people, hey, this movie's gonna flop. Do people even care about Michael Jackson? You're all full of shit, okay? And I think it's really annoying the discourse with Michael Jackson and all of his accusations kind of tainting his legacy so much because I get that's part of his legacy, but you have to understand, we do need to acknowledge one dark truth of it. He's dead. There's nothing more that can be done or said about it. You all need to move the fuck on, and we need to talk about his music and what he changed music history forever and the good feelings he brought. And we can talk about that negative shit within there too, but we need to also not forget the other side of it. People are complicated. Anyways, I'm done discussing all that. Now we'll get into more of the actual movie itself. Jafar Jackson, of course, is great. I don't want to say too much about that because Everybody's gonna say that. He'll probably be Oscar nominated. Colman Domingo was my favorite in this movie as Michael's father. He felt like he wasn't given actually enough screen time in this movie because my biggest issue with this movie is a lot of the darker subjects of Michael's life felt like it was all sanitized and kind of. I mean, really, this if you read the real stories of who Michael's father was and some of the shit that he did to his kids, beating him with the belt and verbally abusing his kids is the least horrific shit he did. There was deeper stuff that he did to his children, and the movie does not want to go into that. And and I, there's even scenes where I'm like, I don't know, but I think his Colman Domingo's performance as this dude is so effective that I kind of forget that watching the movie because every time that dude's on screen, I'm always afraid he's gonna do something. I'm always afraid that he's gonna hurt somebody, like when the mother's talking to him, or Michael's talking to him. I'm always afraid, like, is this guy going to fucking beat their ass, or what? And so I think that's so I don't know. It's not a big issue, but it still felt like, man, we're really sanitizing this. Um, but there's a lot in this movie that they cover. And I think when critics say that this is like the Cliff Notes version of Michael's life, I think that is true, but it's mostly true of the last act. Because this movie does have a clear narrative that has a beginning, middle, and end, and makes for a nice flow of a movie where the main story of this movie is Michael was raised by his abusive father with his brothers and sister, but mostly his brothers are the main part of it, right? And Michael was the big star out of the group, and so he went on to have his own solo career. And he was a person that was a child at heart, never really grew up, and he needed to break free of the chains of his father, and that's kind of where the movie ends, of him finally breaking free of that. And so I don't think this movie's as bad as critics are saying. Yes, there's parts of this movie that feel a little weak. And really, if you want Michael Jackson's life in the most pure form, go watch a fucking documentary or read a book. For God's sake. I think we really need to stop criticizing biopics on the idea of, oh, they didn't tell his story 100% correctly. Yeah, no shit. These are like fantasies of people's lives in a way. You're watching someone else pretend to be someone else. Let's be honest of what these are. So I think that if you want the best pure version of these people's stories, don't watch fucking Bohemian Rhapsody, Rocket Man, Deliver Me from Nowhere, or Complete Unknown. There are better things to seek out. As for the way it is, though, I thought this movie was surprisingly pretty good. I think the movie worked. It did what it needed to do. It got in, got out, and is it a little sanitized and too clean and too cut? Absolutely. Dance choreography in this movie is great. The cinematography is great. The performances are great. Anton Fuqua did a great job directing this movie. It's a good movie. I think it's worth your time if you like Michael Jackson. If you don't like Michael Jackson, or you're still iffy on him because of accusations and stuff, I get it, but you do you. I kind of get it. Parts of me will never truly get it, but that's just me. I don't know. I know this is a very mixed bag of review. It's a lot of discussions and things that maybe people don't want to hear, but it's just the truth. I enjoyed this movie, and I am happy with it. Let me know your thoughts. Like, share, and subscribe. And my friend is looking at me. To bed with her. Are you gonna say hi? No, not you. You can go back to bed.